Imagine a future where America's democracy teeters on the edge. Hillary Clinton, former First Lady, Secretary of State, and one of the most prominent voices in U.S. politics, has just issued a dramatic warning. Clinton says the threat isn't foreign, it's a risk from within. Today, we're exploring her explosive statements and what they mean for the future of the United States. Hillary Clinton is no stranger to politics, and she's seen firsthand the power struggles and risks at the highest levels. In a recent interview, she didn't hold back, describing Donald Trump as a clear and present danger to American democracy. What's behind this warning, and why is she convinced that America is at risk? Clinton's career spans several decades, marked by defining moments in U.S. political history. From her time as First Lady to her work as Secretary of State, Clinton has witnessed political crises and the shifting landscape of U.S. governance. Let's start with an understanding of her perspective and why her warnings carry weight. Her experiences during the 2008 and 2016 presidential elections, especially the rise of Trump in 2016, have shaped her deep concerns about the preservation of democratic values. Clinton has made her views on Trump clear, warning of an authoritarian threat that has the potential to reshape America. She's voiced fears that Trump's brand of politics could undermine institutions and escalate tensions within the country. Clinton believes the risk Trump poses is more than political, it's existential for democracy. Clinton uses the phrase clear and present danger, a term with legal origins, to underscore the immediacy and severity of her concerns. This phrase has been historically used to justify measures against threats that are imminent and could lead to catastrophic consequences if not checked. For Clinton, it's not a term to use lightly. She's sounding an alarm about what she sees as a genuine and immediate threat. But what does she mean in practical terms? Clinton argues that if Trump returns to the White House, fundamental democratic principles could be at risk, from the independence of the judiciary to the role of Congress. She warns of the erosion of essential checks and balances that uphold America's political system. Clinton's warning draws on examples from around the world, where authoritarian governments have emerged, often through the very mechanisms designed to prevent tyranny. Across history, countries with strong democratic foundations have faced authoritarian threats from within. Clinton's message has parallels in the stories of nations like Germany, where the Weimar Republic's democratic structure was dismantled, and Turkey, where President Erdogan has used democratic institutions to expand his control. Clinton's warning taps into these historical examples, pointing to the ways that seemingly stable democracies can quickly become authoritarian under the right conditions. From Hungary to Venezuela, recent decades have shown that democracies aren't invulnerable. Countries that once enjoyed democratic freedom and accountability have seen leaders manipulate systems to concentrate power and weaken opposition. Clinton believes that the U.S., facing high polarization and erosion of political norms, could become another cautionary tale. This comparison isn't just rhetoric. It's backed by political scientists and historians who study the conditions under which democracies fall. They note patterns like the demonization of the press, attacks on judicial independence, and attempts to undermine public trust in elections. For Clinton, these aren't hypothetical risks. They're scenarios she believes are already unfolding in the U.S. Clinton outlined specific risks if Donald Trump were to return to the presidency. She suggests that America's institutions, its courts, media, and even its Constitution, are all at risk. But what does she foresee specifically? Clinton fears Trump may undermine independent institutions like the FBI and Department of Justice to serve his political interests, potentially transforming agencies meant to serve the public into tools for his own agenda. In 2018, Trump famously sparred with the DOJ and FBI, calling their investigations into his campaign a witch hunt. Clinton believes this is a foreshadowing of what could happen if he were to regain power. Clinton is also concerned about the potential curtailing of civil liberties. She has pointed out that Trump's stance on media, particularly his labeling of the press as the enemy of the people, poses a threat to freedom of speech and freedom of the press. For Clinton, a country where the government seeks to control the narrative and limit critical voices is on the path toward authoritarianism. Beyond institutional concerns, Clinton warns of the potential impact on marginalized and vulnerable communities. Trump's past policies and rhetoric have raised alarms among minority groups, including racial minorities, LGBTQ+ individuals, and religious communities. Clinton believes that the erosion of protections and rights could intensify if Trump returns to office. Reactions to Clinton's statements have been mixed. Supporters argue that her message is a necessary warning, especially in a time of intense political division. Figures like former Chief of Staff John Kelly have expressed concern about Trump's approach to leadership and governance, echoing Clinton's fears. Kelly, along with other former officials, has described Trump's behavior as reckless and potentially dangerous for democratic stability. On the other side, Trump supporters argue that Clinton's statements are politically motivated. They believe her words are intended to sway undecided voters by framing Trump's potential presidency as a disaster. Trump's advocates claim that his leadership style, though unconventional, does not threaten democracy, but rather challenges a system they believe is in need of reform. They argue that Clinton's statements represent an exaggerated response designed to maintain her influence in American politics. Public polling data provides insight into how Americans view democracy and Trump's role in it. While some are deeply concerned about authoritarianism, others see Trump as a candidate who reflects their frustrations with the current political system. Polls show that Americans are divided, with a significant portion believing that the democratic system is under threat, while others feel Trump offers an alternative to a system they see as flawed. Clinton's message to voters is clear: the power lies with them. She believes that every vote matters in protecting democratic values and urges Americans to make informed choices in the upcoming elections. For Clinton, voter participation isn't just a duty, it's a defense against potential threats to democracy. Clinton also points to the danger of misinformation, which she claims is one of the greatest threats to voter knowledge and informed decision-making. She argues that deliberate misinformation erodes the public's ability to discern fact from fiction, leaving the political landscape vulnerable to manipulation. She calls for citizens to be vigilant, seek reliable sources, and verify information before accepting it as truth. According to Clinton, civic engagement is more critical now than ever. She encourages citizens to take an active role in their communities, stay informed about political developments, and ensure they're voting in both local and national elections. For Clinton, democracy is not a spectator sport. It's an ongoing, collective responsibility. To understand if Hillary Clinton's warning holds water, we reached out to political experts and historians. They offered valuable insights into the validity of her concerns. Some experts agree with Clinton, noting that democracy's foundation can indeed be weakened from within. They cite recent studies on democratic backsliding worldwide, emphasizing that democracy is not guaranteed, but must be actively preserved. On the other hand, some believe Clinton's concerns may be overstated, suggesting that the U.S. system has robust checks and balances that can withstand Trump's leadership style. Political scientists and historians have explored these ideas in depth. Research on democratic backsliding shows patterns where populist leaders exploit weaknesses in democratic systems, often creating divisions to consolidate power. The evidence they provide suggests that Clinton's fears may not be unfounded. Yet other scholars argue that Clinton's warnings could be intended to mobilize opposition rather than reflect a genuine fear of authoritarianism. They point to the resilience of American institutions and the strong civic culture in the U.S. as defenses against potential authoritarianism. As America heads into a pivotal election, Clinton's warnings leave a lingering question: can U.S. democracy withstand another term under Trump? Clinton argues that there are several possible futures, each with implications for the nation's character and governance. She believes that a Trump victory would fundamentally alter the country's trajectory, leading to greater division and possibly weakening democratic safeguards. For Clinton, a critical part of the answer lies in the hands of voters. She stresses that democratic outcomes depend on the actions of informed citizens who are committed to protecting their rights and those of future generations. Clinton urges young Americans, in particular, to consider the long-term impacts of their choices, highlighting that decisions made today will shape the country's future. Thank you for tuning in to our deep dive on Hillary Clinton's urgent warning for America. Whether you agree or disagree, there's no question that democracy requires us all to participate. So what do you think? Are Clinton's fears well-founded, or is this just more political noise? Leave your thoughts below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more in-depth coverage on the stories shaping our world.